Welcome, guys, once again to the MMOs.com podcast. Episode 159 here. Altai, joined this week by
Omer.
All right. Nice, quick week, I would say. Went very quick for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it feels like I'm not even sure what really happened this last week because I really didn't really play much of anything. Just a little bit of games like League, Overwatch, and HOTS, but never I didn't really sit down and play anything like all day, which is kind of weird. So I feel like the week went by really fast, and I don't even know what happened. It's one of those weeks.
One of those lazy summer weeks, you know?
Yeah, it's good to have.
I tried Pokemon Quest. I think that's what it's called on the phone. It's pointless. I think I don't get the fascination with these mobile games. They still elude me.
You just don't get mobile gaming. All right, mobile gaming is both the present and the future, and you were just stuck in the past. All right. I love opening my games that autoplay themselves all day.
Do you remember that browser Pokemon game you showed me a few weeks ago?
Pokemon like Omega or something. This game's great.
Okay, Pokemon Quest, the official one, is not much different than that. So you start each stage, and you have these three Pokemon. They wander around by themselves. They attack by themselves, and then you either win or you lose, and then you get experience and stuff, and you go to the next one.
Wait, and there's no way it's that bad because what you're describing is quite literally that garbage Chinese Pokemon game I showed you a few weeks ago.
It's a lot slower paced. Each combat round takes a lot longer.
It's slower paced, so it's actually worse?
In a way, yes.
What?
But it's free now, so if it's out, if you guys want like Pokemon, maybe it's worth a shot. The art's kind of cute. It's got like cube art. Yeah. But that plus Slay the Spire. I've been playing that a lot still. I love that game. It's like solitaire. I can just play it when I'm bored.
So Slay the Spire is a surprisingly great game. And because of that, I kind of want to play Enter the Gungeon.
Another good game, Darkest Dungeon. It feels like it's the same kind of vein as Slay the Spire.
Cool. All right, and with that, Altai, let's take it to the weekly raid, and I love weekly raids because it lets us good old bitch about things, and I've learned that there's nothing better in this world than just some bitching. All right, just some bros getting together and bitching and complaining because that's what everybody loves doing. What are we complaining about this week, Altai?
This is one of the more justified bitchings we've done. Okay, and you guys
that sentence assumes our previous bitching wasn't justified, and I refuse to accept that. All Remo's bitching is justified.
A lot of things in this world are not certainties, you know? Even, for example, Bless being a cash grab. You know, you could just chalk up the incompetence. They had good intentions, right? You don't know. It sounds like...
We do know. There was literally the developer interview. That guy laughing, remember? That meme video?
Well, okay.
That's an actual developer interview. Of course it was a cash grab. Lucifer's King, thank you for that sub. Nothing better than some bitching on Rare 20. I stand by that statement because everybody, this is a pastime of humanity. Get together with some bros and just bitch. Bitch about the latest balance changes in Overwatch. Bitch about how they nerfed your class in World of Warcraft. Bitch about anything, all right?
Hold on.
And just, yeah.
This is not bitching, what's about to come. This is reporting, okay? Now, it's a fine line between bitching and reporting, but I think this is one of the few stories that we're going to ever cover that really is more like reporting than bitching. Because like I said, most scams have something called plausible deniability. You can't say for sure if you were scammed or not. So let's say you buy the miracle herbs, like the powder, it makes you lose weight. Yeah. They'll always say something like, with the right diet and exercise, this can enhance your lifestyle. And then you can say, well, I guess I didn't really exercise, so that's why it didn't do anything. But the bad con man will be like, just take this one pill and everything's better. Because that's an easy thing to prove. It's fake. So anyway, back to the weekly raid. So we got a game coming out in 2 days, guys. All right, 2 days until the early access launch of Warlords Awakening.
Now, early access. Wow, must be a new and exciting new MMORPG, guys.
Yep, this is supposed to be an MMO action RPG. And for those of you who've been with us for a long time, you might know that this game is in fact not new. This game is actually Aloha, which is Elite Lord of Alliance. And here's a little gameplay from Omar while we talk.
It's from Q1 2014, originally in South Korea. This was the original release date for Aloha. So now, literally 4 years later, they got a whole new name, and they're ready to relaunch, boys, into early access. And at no point in their early access launch did they even mention that the game was actually just a relaunch of Aloha. They didn't even mention Aloha at all. They just call it a brand new, exciting new MMORPG. They were trying to hide the fact that this is just a relaunch of an older game. Well, and in fact, when it was first announced, they never mentioned that.
And the interesting thing is, when you say they, it's important to know who they are. Because the original developer of this game is defunct. They gave up on the game. It failed. Webzen brought it here a couple years ago, but they shut down because it failed here as well. And then this new company, they're not a new company, but they're called Play With. You guys might know them from Rohan Online or Seal Online. They bought the
Hold on.
rights.
No, you're missing a vital piece to this history. Okay, Webzen launched the game in 2015 in America.
Yes.
Actually, at first it was available as In Spirit Online, and then that one shut down. And then Webzen picked it up, and they launched the official version in 2015. And then after Webzen shut the game down because it sucked and nobody played it, Game and Game. It was self-published through Game and Game in 2016. And that shut down, of course, as well. In 1 year, that one shut down as well. So it's already shut down like 3 times, not counting all the failures it had in Korea. And now it's coming back again.
So Playwith bought it. They relaunched it in Korea, and they said we're going to relaunch it in Steam as well. Okay, we're going to relaunch it on Steam on July 26th. But 2 weeks ago, on July 11th, they shut down the only remaining Korean servers for this game. So before the launch in the West, the official server in the home country is already shut down. Now, remember, this game was free to play in the previous 3 or 4 launches, right? But so what is a wise move to do now? Your free to play game failed 3-4 times before. So why don't you launch it on Steam and charge $12 for it? that's the way to go. So, and that's what they're doing right now. $12 in 2 days for a game that's already failed 4 times, already shut down in the home country currently. What is going on? Even Bless is at least still keeping their.
You're missing. What makes this particularly insulting is the fact that it's going to cost money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even launching it with free to play. Like, you know what? Our game is a complete piece of steaming hot garbage. It's literally shut down like 10 times throughout both Korea and America. And we're going to rebrand it and just sell it for money without telling anybody what the original game was. That's the plan. Let's see how much money we can make out of this. This seems like an actual cash grab.
Yes. This is like there's no way to defend this. Like I said with Bless, at least they still have the Bless servers up in Korea, right? So they can say, guys, we're trying. We're just bad. We're just dumb. They can plead stupidity, right? These guys cannot even plead stupidity. They shut the game down in Korea. They changed the name. They're charging money for a game that's free. They have no excuses. This is just a blatant con game.
Yeah, if literally nobody was playing this game through Game and Game and Webzen as free to play title, why on earth would anybody pay $12 to play this? The only reason is they might look at the trailer and be like, hey, this looks kind of cool because there's some action elements in the game, and there's one unique feature in the game which is kind of neat, but it doesn't carry the game. And the fact that people aren't going to be aware it was already tried might sucker people into it. And somebody in chat was saying it is a genius idea to a degree, because it is a genius idea because you already have the game, and all you're doing is changing the name and charging money for it and putting it on Steam. Like this process of and the game is already localized as well because it was available twice in the West. So it costs you nothing to relaunch it with a different name, literally zero. If they sell 1 copy, they made money, and they're going to sell copies because people will be unsuspecting and they're going to buy it on this literal cash grab.
And I think Steam is complicit in this, and we're going to get a lot more of these kind of con games. Because
I don't know about complicit. They're an open platform now. They're not really regulating.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm blaming them.
That's not complicity.
Yes, it is. A few months ago, Steam basically abandoned their curation responsibilities and said, whatever, anything goes, everyone for themselves. So now, unfortunately, by the way, the whole Bless debacle, right, shows that there's still a big demand in the West for a full MMORPG, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that didn't work out with Bless, but now there's an opening for so many of these con artists to buy these shut down Korean MMORPGs, change the name, right? Slap it on Steam, slap a $20 price tag on it, and say, okay, it's a great new MMORPG. And some sliver of the millions of people looking for MMORPGs are going to just fall into this page and just buy it without thinking.
And actually, the fact that it's buy to play makes me believe that's more true than anything else. And actually, I think what inspired this to happen in the first place was the success of Bless.
Yes.
I mean, I'm saying success because even though there's been so many people quitting the game instantly, they probably made at least $1 million or $1 or $2 million from sales from the game's founders packs. And the game is not Bless is not free to play; it costs money. So they sold so many copies of the game. Even with all the refunds, they made money. They had to have made money because look, I honestly think Bless was a scam. Very rarely will I say a game is a cash grab. Very often people will say, "Oh my God, this game was such a cash grab," but the reality is the game just sucks. Okay, a game that blows isn't really a cash grab. It's just incompetent team made a shit game and it didn't sell well. But it's not necessarily a cash grab. I feel like to properly call something a cash grab, they've had to have premeditation in their plan. Mm-hmm. And I think Bless did have premeditation because
you can think that, right? And I probably agree with you. But my point is, at least they have some little sliver, like 1% plausible deniability, because they're still running the game in Korea, right? But this game, they don't even have that. They have nothing. Why are they releasing this game?
There's no reason for this. There's literally nobody. There's no reason for this.
It's gonna go straight to their bank account. They're not gonna do one patch. They're not gonna do anything. They're shut down. It's not running anymore in Korea.
Yeah,
They're just gonna take
the
your
game is
money.
literally dead in Korea. The game's developers, I think they bought the game from the developer too.
Mm-hmm.
The developer is a company called MPixSoft, and their official website MPixSoft.com just doesn't exist anymore. So the developer's dead. They bought the assets, and they're just gonna slap it up and charge money for it.
Yes.
But I was saying, you're saying there's implausible deniability with Bless, but I feel like what Bless did was a bit more nefarious than people realize.
Oh, yeah, it's smarter. Okay, go on, you.
Because they literally packaged the game as this revamped version for Steam, and they did all these dev diaries on how like they're gonna localize the game for Western release, and they understood all their mistakes, and they're gonna make sure the game runs smoothly with optimizations, and like we've done all these optimization patches, and the game runs great, right? They've been saying how well the game runs with all the new patches, right? And of course, when Bless actually launched, it ran like hot steaming pile of shit. All right, and they literally just lied through their teeth, saying how well the game was optimized, how much balance changes they've done. There was no balance changes, there was no optimizations, there was nothing done to that game, and they slapped it back up on Steam, and they sold a couple $1 million worth of sales right out of that. And that's sending a signal to basically every Korean game developer, come on, bring forth your shit to America. These idiots will buy it, and because Bless was a free-to-play game as well, and they went with the buy-to-play model in America because they realized, they're not going to work on the game. They might as well scam as much money as they can. So I do think Bless was actually one of the few games, and along with this game,
Yes.
LOR or Warlords Awakening, one of the few games I would actually label a cash grab. Because most of the time, a failed shitty game is exactly that, a failed shitty game. It wasn't a cash grab because the company that made those games, they lost lots of money most of the time. Like they literally, this probably bled millions of dollars for investors. Whereas if you look at where this game is today, they're going into this knowing that they're gonna sell some copies and they're not gonna update it at all. And the Bless is the same thing. Bless cost a lot of money to make. They lost money on the Korean launch and the Russian launch, but when they made the American launch, they already knew it was crap game, and they were just doing cash grab.
Yep. I'm curious if you guys have any other good examples. So if you know a game that kind of falls into this mold, like Bless or Warlords Awakening, leave a comment. Let us know. A few of you guys mentioned Air as a potential game like this.
It's not necessarily not necessarily in the same boat because it's never been out yet.
It's not out yet, exactly. I'm gonna say, can you guys think of any examples that are?
I can think of one.
What do you got?
I got a good one. I got a good example of yet another cash grab. No Man's Sky was also deceptive.
Oh, that's true.
It's very deceptive, and they were definitely a scammy. But I think what we're trying to discuss is a game that is just literally a cash grab where they know it's going to fail because it failed in its home market multiple times. Well, and they're just trying to get as much money as they can before it shuts down.
Also, we should add that the intent is to just con people. Whereas with No Man's Sky, presumably based on the feedback of what I've been reading today, with that new update, at least they're trying over years to.
But they still lied, Their initial.
Lie. Yeah.
I
will count that.
Was to deceive
that's a good
people,
one.
So that's definitely a cash grab.
I'll still count that one. All right, yeah. Star Citizen.
Yes. It could. Yes, that's from. I have a good one too. Ready? Asta Online. You remember that one, Altai?
I do remember Asta Online.
Asta Online was supposed to be the World of Warcraft of South Korea, right? And basically, by the time I think it originally launched through WebZen. I feel like WebZen is really like the cornerstone for these shit games. Sometimes, like they really end up on WebZen's platform somehow. This LO was on WebZen as well, but this is supposed to be the World of Warcraft of Korea, and the game shut down in Korea. And after it shut down, WebZen's like got this genius idea. Okay, this game shut down in Korea, so we can probably get the license for literally nothing because it's a piece of shit game that nobody wants to play. So they licensed it in, they licensed for the international release, and they launched it in America after it already shut down. And lo and behold, guys, the WebZen version shut down because literally nobody wants to play a failed piece of shit game. And then once that one shut down, Move Games launched it as well on Steam again. So they relaunched it on Steam, and I think that was last year. And I tried to look at it today, but I'm pretty sure it's gone. There's no play button on Steam anymore. So I think it shut down once again. So it might be around again off Steam now, but that game is also one of the games. Just let it die. Let it die. Stop giving the game hope. Just let it calmly fade away into the distance. All right. Just let it go.
Indeed.
Wait, what I want to send a message to all the South Korean game developers and publishers out there. We don't want your failed shit. All right. You want to launch a game in America? Launch a game in America, but don't bring the shit that sucks ass. It's like the steaming pile of shit that you just couldn't sell in South Korea, and the game shut down, and you get this genius idea. Why don't we just launch it in America? Maybe those Americans love our shit. I don't know. Why are they doing it? It just seems so like dishonest.
Yeah, and I think and honestly, there are a couple of companies in Korea that I feel like get too much hate that they don't deserve, like Nexon being one of them. You can love or hate their games, right? But the fact that they're still supporting MS1, Mabinogi, Vindictus here in the West, right? It shows that it wasn't a cash grab. Whether you like the game or not is a separate issue, but at least it wasn't a cash grab because they're continuously supporting it. They're still here. So that's a big difference, I think, between the fly-by-night, launches versus the more reputable names.
On that note, if there's any Korean game developers that would just sell me their shitty game, I would pay up to $5,000 for a shitty Korean game that shut down just to relaunch for fun to see what happens. I tried emailing Webzen, their licensing division, but their licensing department, like it's like licensing at Webzen.com. I emailed them and it just literally bounced. So I couldn't even get in touch with because Webzen actually has the licenses for a lot of garbage games that they never even launched or they launched and they already failed. So I would love to like buy one of those games from them, but it's been really hard. I can't even reach them to do it. So I would love to buy one of these games, just launch it for fun and see what happens.
I think you'll have a chance. I think the fact that Steam kind of gave up on curation means that a lot of these games are shut down, including people saying Scarlet Blade. But basically every MMORPG in the last 20 years, I think, will eventually make its way to Steam because as long as the source code is still in one piece, somebody will slap it up and charge $10 for a founder's pack and hope somebody bites. So
yeah, because if all they're doing is running the servers, the actual server costs are like probably less than $100 a month for these games with nobody on it. Like
especially today, with everything being online, cloud,
with cloud services. Yeah, you put that up on Amazon. Your monthly bill with such a small player base will be almost nothing. So it's doable. I mean, we've seen also Suba Games, like they are the purveyor of like the shittiest Korean games. But look, I can respect Suba Games because what they do is they get these shutdown games and they relicense them and they basically have them on SubaGames.com as free to play forever. Like if Suba Games like charge money for these games and they shut them down very quickly, it'd be kind of sketch. Like you can play all these old garbage games for free and there's no and they've been running for years. So like Nine Dragons has been running for years now on here. Like games like Divine Souls, like I bet nobody's heard of Divine Souls. It's like it was one of the OG Mabinogi Heroes ripoffs, one of the OG Vindictus ripoffs. Like this copied Dragoness and Vindictus, and it was on Fiesta. It was on Outspark's website. If you guys still remember that publisher.
Yep.
So like they run these games for a long time. So at least some respect to Suba Games, but they're not, it's not a cash grab when they're doing because it's all free to play and they've been running it for years.
Indeed.
But South Korea, we don't want your shit games. All right. We need Trump to put a tariff on all these garbage relaunch shit tier Korean games. All right. If it's already shut down in Korea, we don't want it. All right, get it out of here.
Well, funny story. Not too long ago, China actually put a ban on new Korean games. I think I lifted recently. It was over some kind of missile defense that the U.S.
Yeah, there was like some politics nonsense though. Nothing actually happened.
A lot of games were delayed going into Korea, but now I think once it got lifted, they all came in.
Yeah. But yeah. That's our spiel about these garbage shutdown games launching. Don't buy Warlords Awakening. It's a waste of money. It's going to fail and it's going to shut down again, but they're going to keep you $12. That's the minimum price.
With that said, I'm actually really curious now to go on July 26th to go on Steam and see how many people are online because that will show how many people paid for the game.
Less than 100 though, I think probably is going to be on launch day.
Really?
My guess.
Okay, we'll see.
They'll scam people, but it won't be like a big scale scam because 12 what is this rando game? It's kind of odd.
All right.
And with that, we should take it to MapleStory 2 because MapleStory 2 closed beta 2 began I think last week or this week. Last week. This week. I lied. This week. I think on 19th it began. So I've been playing a little bit of MapleStory 2. Altai. What about you?
Well, I only played with you this last Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, and that's it.
So on our Friday stream, we played a little bit. It was the same as basically closed beta 2. They I think added new raids, a couple new raids, and some late end game dungeons. But this time around, I started experimenting with the game's basically the game's custom engine where you can actually import assets into the game, and I had an unbelievable amount of fun with that. So I want to show you some of the creations I made, Altai, and see what you think about it.
Let's
all right?
see it.
As we talked about before, MapleStory 2 has this really innovative system where you can basically import our assets into the game and basically do whatever you want with it. So I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm going to show. Just take a look at all the stuff I've made in game. Everything here is safe for work, so we can show it on stream. I did make some really weird, like, not safe for work stuff. Some there's obvious porn in the game you can import too, but obviously if people report, you get banned. But just take a look at the one I showed right now. I think it's pretty spicy.
All right, let's see this. All right, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Let's zoom in.
Yeah. So again, you can literally with your character, you can actually like import any art asset into the game and edit it onto your character, and everybody else can see it as well. So you can see some of these are my friends as well. There's one of my buddies was running like one of the it's like an emote called the 2B-gasm. It's an emote on Discord with the shield. They have like it's some well-known anime faces. I put the XD girl face on my character, and like you can see some Pepe's in there as well. My buddy Chaos Shield was Captain Kang's in the bottom left over there.
I was gonna say that the Pepe thing might get you in trouble. It's like a hate symbol now.
It's not actually. It can't be actually a hate symbol because what's funny is people are actually selling the Pepe hat. Like the one on the top left is what somebody else made, And that Pepe face you can actually buy with Catchup currency in the game. Like the way it works is you can make your own creations, and you can put those creations on the game's auction house and buy and sell to other people. Because once you make it, it becomes an item in the game. And people who buy the item can't just duplicate it as well. So they have to buy it from you. Or they can just reverse engineer it as well, make their own version of it too. But it requires a little bit of finesse with the game's like editor. But it opens up on Paint and Photoshop as well. So if you know way around those, you'll be good. But I thought it was really awesome, the fact that you can do all this custom stuff in the game. And when you run around MapleStory too, you see some really you see other people with very well known anime characters on their faces. You can see like portraits on the wall, like just like some memes and stuff. And I really like it. It's one of the only MMORPGs where you can do something like this in it. And all of this is available with no there's no moderation. Like there's no preempt moderation. So it's not like you make a design and then a moderator has to approve it. No, everything is auto approved. But if you do anything, anything that's offensive, you can be reported for and you'll be banned afterwards. But the fact that they allow it, to be done right from the get-go with no manual approval, I think lets some creativity really explode in the game.
Yeah.
Endgame fashion is everything in MMORPGs. And no MMORPG will have the same endgame fashion that MapleStory has from the get-go.
From what I read, though, making your own custom item like this will require a cash shop item.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think you'll see a lot less initially in OB than you are in CB, because I'm pretty sure in CB they're just giving them away.
Yeah, it's free. It's free to make it in game now. But I'm hoping that there's a way to get it for free.
We'll see. But so now is the time to try it, though. If you're into closed beta and you're interested in messing with this, now is the best time because items are free to mess with.
Yeah, if you want to mess with it, and that was awesome. Basically everyone gets like X amount of free cash up currency as well. You can make infinite amounts of these custom designs too, so it's mega awesome. I think this kind of this part of MapleStory is awesome, but this is not just it either. I mean, the game has some really quality emotes as well. But those players can't design those. Those are to be kind of those are designed by Nexon. I think sold in the cash shop. But there's also this same level of creativity is allowed for housing in the game. So housing assets, wallpapers and stuff, and some furniture elements can actually be designed in the same way, where you have a blank canvas and you can import whatever assets you want into the game. And that again, I think is pretty insane. They can get away with it. It does sound abusable, but from what I've seen, it's just mainly anime characters and stuff like that in the game. And obviously, you're not supposed to do copyrighted content, but who's gonna unless somebody complains, then it's gonna be they're gonna look past it,
Yeah, and I think the abusability is probably higher now because, like I said, everybody's getting it in closed beta. So anybody with a free account can it's not gonna be like this in open beta where anybody can just imagine a 4chan raid where 100 guys make accounts. And then they all at the same time turn on some crazy racist thing. You
can literally put swastikas on your character overnight.
But you can't once OB comes out because they're not going to spend 100. They're not going to spend money on that.
But it's probably $1 or $2 to get one customizable piece of clothing. If you want to be an asshole for $1, you could. Maybe. But they still make money off it, and then they'll ban you. So it becomes a win-win, I guess.
But I wonder what kind of stories will be covered if that happens. Imagine 4chan does the whole pools close thing with the effort thing or AIDS.
That'd be awesome. It would be
awesome.
I think.
Yeah, it would be entertaining. But I think it'd be
bad
for us.
Some videos on Internet Historian's YouTube channel covering the raids of MapleStory. MapleStory 2, that is. That'd be spicy. So this last week also, Alta and I played Mushking Royale on MapleStory 2. And while the actual game mode was kind of buggy and laggy, it really tells you what you can do with MapleStory 2. So if you haven't heard of Mushking Royale, it's basically the game's Battle Royale game mode. Only 50 players on a big map, basically jump off a balloon in random spots. You got the basic Battle Royale elements with the circle getting smaller and smaller, fighting to be the last person standing. And this is all within MapleStory 2. And in this game mode, there is no advantage to being a higher level. Everything gets equalized, and you're basically playing Battle Royale in MapleStory 2, which is pretty badass. And even though the core game was kind of meh, just seeing this game mode in there shows you what you can do with the MapleStory 2 engine.
Yeah,
I foresee a future where a year from now when the game is out that they'll have a whole bunch of these other side game modes, whether it's Battle Royale, whether it's I can already imagine a Mario Kart style racing game within MapleStory 2. Why not, right? If they can do a 50-person Battle Royale, they can do a 10-15 player racing game. They already have some really fun quiz games. They have a lot of other goodies in here as well. This could be it is all the raiding, combat, crafting of a traditional MMORPG with all the casual mini games and fun stuff that you'd want in a virtual world.
If the engine is flexible and the lag is not an issue like it was for us with the Battle Royale, I could see this potentially becoming something like Roblox, where these player created mini games kind of outshine the actual game, right? Kind of like Fortnite with the survival thing versus the Battle Royale, right? The Battle Royale was a kind of add-on, but it kind of totally outshine the main game. That could happen here, but it depends how good the engine is.
Yeah, I would love them to have tools in the game to have players develop their own mini games and stuff. That would be, I think, the end goal. I mean,
Yeah.
Nexon themselves can make all the basic stuff, but I think making player tools can make this into like a Roblox style game where
Yeah.
players can do all this cool shit. But actually, a bit of a fun fact. I'm curious if anyone in the stream knew this, but there was a mini game. So there's one mini game in MapleStory 2 that pops up as you play. It's called the quiz game. I forgot what the exact name was. But you basically get like 10 true or false questions, and you have like 50 to 100 players in the mini game. So you either stand on the left side of the screen, which is true, or the right side, which is false. And you go through some questions. The first question was like, Harry Potter goes to a magical school called Hogwarts, true or false? That was obviously true. Everybody went to the true side, right? I think once I got the question 4, one of the questions was that actually, today I learned for me, one of the questions was that Magellan coined the term Pacific Ocean. So when that happened, I wasn't exactly sure. I'm looking at the board. Everyone's saying false. Like literally 100% of players are standing on false. I'm like, you know what? It's probably false. I mean, Pacific Ocean is a thing, but I don't know if this famous explorer is the one that coined the term. And actually, everyone lost. Like, look, it's like a trap door. The ground breaks down, everyone falls down. So it was actually true. So today I learned that Magellan was the one who coined the phrase Pacific Ocean. That's a fun fact for everyone on the stream.
I
Now
also
everyone is
did not know that.
A little bit wiser.
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny because you can always, like, sometimes you go by, like, if you know the answer or not, you can always, or you just look at the board and see where everybody else is standing and go where the majority is, to see bandwagon the majority. I did verify it afterwards as well. Maybe next time is wrong. Nope, my buddy Canaris actually Googled it after I lost. Because the thing is, I was on Discord with my buddy Canaris, and I asked him the question, like, is it oh shit, this question is Magellan coined the phrase Pacific Ocean? Like, that's not true, right? He's like, no, I doubt it. So we both said it wasn't true, and then it happened to be true. We both lost. Feels bad, man. You can always Google the answer as well too. But I mean, I thought it was way too obvious. I feel like I didn't have to Google it. But it's a little takeaway for everyone. Now we all know that Magellan coined the phrase Pacific Ocean, which I think means like the calm ocean.
Yeah, exactly. I think we got it right there. So you guys are learning. You can learn from MapleStory 2, guys. All right, it's an educational.
MapleStory 2 is an educational game. All right, but like I don't know what it is, but I love seeing this like quiz game, the battle royale game. There's a platforming game. There's a foot racing game. I love seeing this in an MMORPG, and it's not just in MapleStory 2. Guild Wars 2 had some fun. There's some race events in Guild Wars 2, where some of the quests, like with dynamic quests, are actually just like racing with other players. I think it's awesome. We've seen some like gold saucer style mini games in Final Fantasy XIV, but those feel more like cheaper style mini games because they're like arcadey games, like flash games, very kind of meh. But see these interactive multiplayer games in MapleStory 2 gets me mega hype because while I love the core game of Final Fantasy XIV and I'm liking the core gameplay so far in MapleStory 2, I think what keeps players around is really these mini games are fun. Like I want to go into Final Fantasy XIV to just hang out sometimes. I'm ready, like after I do my raids, like 5 of my friends are online. Let's go hang out. Let's go to the gold saucer. Let's go play some of these shitty mini games. I'm MapleStory 2. Let's go play some battle royale mode after we're done raiding. We go to some guy's house, play with the emotes. There's other shit to do besides just grinding. I think MapleStory 2, if they pull it off correctly, could easily be like a huge success. They have to double down on these features though. I want to see like at least 20, 30 of these games in within MapleStory 2. Like, why can't MapleStory 2 just literally have a Mario Party clone inside of it, where you and 5 friends just literally play Mario Party within the game, where there's like 6 the different mini games and shit. Like, you could do so much in this game.
I agree. Like I said, in my mind, I'm seeing like a Roblox kind of interface where you log in, and one of your UI buttons just brings up a list of all these mini games. You scroll, you enter the rooms. You can spend money in the mini games, and then the creator gets a cut. They could definitely do something like this, hopefully. But we'll see. Because remember, in Korea, this game was nowhere near as successful as MS1.
It's doing pretty well in China from everything I've read so far.
That's good.
So the Chinese release has been doing pretty well. Obviously, we'll see how well the American release does. I mean, just some insight into that as well. They started selling Founders Packs for the first time right when in closed beta 2. So if you never got access to the closed beta, you can buy your way in with the Founders Pack. And they say they're only selling 20,000 Founders Packs. And if I remember correctly, those all sold out within 48 hours. Probably 24 actually, but I'm saying 48 just to be safe. Because I know for sure they sold out in 48, because that's when I actually checked. They sold out probably well before that. So all 20,000 Founders Packs are sold out, including the $100 bundle. So there is hype for MapleStory 2, and I think rightfully so.
It is interesting that and I guess to Nexon's credit, they only sold 20,000 Founders Packs, right? They're trying to build hype a little bit, make it exclusive. But remember, a Founders Pack was supposed to be something exclusive because you get those special items. It's not special if everybody can get it. So the fact that they actually only sold 20,000 to me, it shows that they're a company that's not after a cash grab. Like, they're actually a real company.
Also, Alta, you're showing off some Korean gameplay. Forget that. It's just some English one. I like you have some English one.
Oh,
it's a quiz. Might as well have to see the quiz game in in English.
I figured it didn't matter, but sure, I'll play yours.
But yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just one of the many games within MapleStory too. And I do want to say at least like you can say what you will about like Nexon, but I feel like they're one of the more legit game companies. You know, I'm sure they do some sketchy things like everybody else, but they're not like an outright cash grab the way that we saw from Bless and the way we're seeing from Warlords Awakening and Ultima Online. There's so many actual cash grabs that I feel like look at that. In 1988 Seoul Olympics, China won the overall #1 spot. Alta, do you know the answer to that?
No.
I don't either. Is it true or false?
False.
I got no idea.
False.
I say true then.
There's no way in 1988 China had a viable team.
It was false. You're right. Most players in the game in the background were in the true category. So I went with the audience, boys.
I think they had the most in 2008 when they hosted it, but not the 80s.
But it just it's a pretty fun mini game. So I would like MapleStory 2 would literally be my go-to game if they can just have like tons more mini games in it. That's really I think the thing that's missing from the game. You still have a good amount, but more would be better. And these actually reward you as well with experience, and it's based on what level you are, percentage-based reward. So it would always be kind of relevant for you.
Okay.
There's one thing that's been odd though. I think you mentioned it last time we played is all the random achievements you get. That's kind of weird though.
Oh my god! Every step I take in MS2, and if you guys are in the closed beta, you can relate to this. Every step I take, it's like Walker medal, like Walker tier 2 medal, like high jumper because I jump like 20 times. Like I don't want to see this shit. Like it's just clutter on my screen at that point.
And literally every time you interact with a piece of furniture for the first time, every single furniture has their own achievement as well. You get a trophy for it. So one I actually liked. Again, I was just going through all of them. I think there was an event going on. If you get like 200 or something, you get some reward when the game launches. So I was trying to get all 200 trophies. So there's one where there's actually like a toilet. You can sit down on it, right? When you sit down on it, you get the achievement dropping the kids off at the pool for a toilet. So I thought it was pretty funny. Some of those achievements have some pretty good names on it. They're in good taste, at least some of them.
I feel like achievements were the start of like this bloatification of gaming. Like I remember when I were kids in the good old days, okay?
The good old days, nostalgia speaking.
Okay, think Super Nintendo or even Nintendo 64 era, okay? You get the game, right? You put it in the console, you flip the switch, and you're playing the game. That's it. There's a menu screen, start, and you're in, right? But since about the time achievements started coming in, we got all this bloat, these long tutorials, this nonsense that comes up on your screen. I don't want things on my screen when I'm playing a game, all right? Unless they're very important to what's going on at that moment. And I feel like achievements were just the first step in just bloating everything.
Right. I think a lot of older RPGs too, like from the get-go when you launch the game to when you start like just actually playing the game is just much quicker. I mean, Ultima Online, you just literally pick a starting city and just start playing right away.
Yeah,
there's no like mandatory tutorials, no nonsense. And
there's no achievements in Ultima Online. There's no achievements. You do your own thing.
Yeah. There's something to say about that as well. But
I got another Nexon story before we move.
Let's hear it.
Since we're already on Nexon here, they are working on a card game, mobile card game.
Them and literally everybody else.
Yeah,
everyone's doing mobile card games, but no one's gonna chase Hearthstone. We all know it.
But here's the thing: it's not the first, obviously, card game by them. They have like a Mabinogi inspired card game already. Dual Link.
Is that Lena in the background? I'll tell you.
That is not Lena, but I'm gonna play this trailer.
You sure it's not Lena? It looks like Lena to me.
Somehow they bagged a deal with Marvel to make a Marvel card game. I'm surprised Nexon got the deal, but here it is. This is the reveal trailer. There's actually nothing in this trailer, to be honest. But I'm just a little surprised that Disney gave such a big Western franchise to Nexon. So hopefully it's okay.
You know why? Who else will they give it to? Like, what were you thinking? Out of curiosity.
I think
Nexon's actually
Blizzard.
Look at EA and Blizzard. Both EA and Blizzard don't have the contacts in Asia, like in China and Korea. I'm pretty sure EA and Blizzard don't publish any games directly in either China
so you're telling me
Korea.
so with this game
Nexon has relationships with Tencent and they publish all their
so they global.
I
guess they have a global idea. How big is I have no clue, but how big is Marvel overseas, like in China? Probably big, right? All those comic book movies probably do well.
I don't know, but Nexon is not a small company either. I mean, I think Nexon is at least like a $20 billion company, which is pretty insane. I'm gonna look it up right now. I think they're definitely one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. They're 1.5 trillion yen, so I gotta see how much that is. They're 13.4 billion. They're definitely one of the biggest game companies in the world. So definitely not like they're partnering with a nobody. But I think you're right. You're right for the West though. It does seem weird for the Western market to not partner with like EA or something. So I don't think Blizzard would publish. Does Blizzard really publish games? They just do their own stuff.
I don't know. I feel like it'd be hard to say no to Disney coming in and saying, "Hey, you want this?"
Yeah, true. speaking of mobile games, Altai, have you heard of the latest mobile game this week that was just announced? Literally, I think this morning.
Are you talking about Fantasy Star Mobile with a weird name?
I am. In order to celebrate, first I want to show you this tweet, which one of our MMOs.com viewers and my buddy on Discord replied to my announcement on Twitter for this, my article I wrote for it, news post. It was basically their 30th anniversary. And my buddy Milk goes, "Happy 30th anniversary, our loyal fans. Here's some FGO looking bullshit no one asked for." Because actually, the first thing I thought of, so if you click into the article in the news post, you'll see the trailer. The first thing I thought of when I saw this was, this is like some FGO clone or something. And it's a fake Grand Order. It's another mobile game.
All right, boys, we're going to play this trailer so you guys can see. Okay, so first of all, I got to pause for a second here. They're obviously, here's a tried and true formula to milk people on the mobile gaming. They get you with nostalgia. Like all those Final Fantasy games with the record keeper and stuff, you get to play all your favorite characters, right? So with this, the trailer starts with, I guess, scenes from the very first Fantasy Star game, right? This 8-bit game. So they want to get all the old players that are currently adults now and working and don't have time maybe for games, but they have cell phones, and they want to get those people to just spend $50 on stupid gacha waifus, and that's how they do it.
Look at this. This nostalgia at the beginning though. These old clips from old Fantasy Star games. Their 30th anniversary for this long running franchise, and all we get is gonna be some Fantasy Star Idola, some waifu collector gacha nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, the characters are pretty cute and the art looks pretty good too. It's got waifus, all right. The waifus look pretty quality, all right. They're quality waifus. But at the end of the day, it's just yet another gacha collector, hero collector game, and it actually looks so much like Fake Grand Order. It seems like a little too much to be a coincidence. I think they realized how much money Fake Grand Order made, and like just the combat scenes and the UI elements scream Fake Grand Order. I mean, not that one's particularly original either, but these games really follow the same formula.
Yep. And that's a good point though. Like I was actually surprised at how many fans of Fantasy Star Online exist here in the West. It's not a game I ever got into. I never had a Dreamcast when it came out.
The PS2 version too, wasn't there?
But I don't think we ever played it though.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. But I never got into it. But and obviously they don't care about their Western audience too much. Fantasy Star Online never came here, despite a lot of people still asking for it and knowing about it. So it just seems like a quick cash grab on an established franchise.
Yeah. And we know these games make money. I mean, Fake Grand Order makes $1 billion a year now. I think I know we had a previous discussion about whether we thought the next mainline Final Fantasy game, whether it be an MMORPG or another console, another like just mainline story-driven epic RPG, the way I guess Final Fantasy 15 was, would be for mobile this time around. And I believe now more than ever, the next mainline Final Fantasy game, whether it's an MMORPG or not, will be on mobile. I feel like the trends are just so much more stacked heavily towards mobile. So here's an interesting chart I want to show you from Square Enix's last earnings call, which is I believe in May. So this is first you can show the first chart and then the second chart. Okay. The first chart is their digital entertainment section for HD games. So HD games, the way Square Enix kind of defines them is basically all their console games and their PC games, right? Basically almost everything besides mobile. So these are the Final Fantasy 15s. These are the big, the game is the Tomb Raider games. These are the big budget, big dick games from them from 2014 till 2018. If you look, it's relatively flat. It's up from 47.3 to 65.6. And these numbers are in billions of yens. It's generally pretty flat though, and it relies very heavily on big budget releases. This includes the release of Final Fantasy 15 most recently. I think that was in fiscal year 2017, which is why we saw a big jump, 92.8, and it went right back down. And then look at the mobile game section. So it's basically been flat to up a little bit, and then look how much we've seen mobile games grow.
Oh, and baby.
There is no way on God's green earth that Square Enix is going to make their next giant budget game a console game when they could just release it on mobile. Where the same time period, 2014 to 2018, and we have like a more than a threefold increase versus like a 40% increase before. And look how much more steady smart devices and PC browser games. These are basically almost all mobile games. They have some browser games included here as well. And yeah, Stormblood also launched in 2017, which included those numbers.
It's also important to look at the orange line, which is their operating income, not just net sales. Because as you guys might know, the cost of making a game like Final Fantasy 15 or 14 for that matter is much higher than the cost of making cash grab mobile gimmick game. So this,
Hell yeah.
so so there's that to keep in mind as well. Not only are they making more money revenue, but also more profit from these kind of games.
So given the trends, I mean, there's no surprise that we got the new Star Ocean game was also another mobile gacha game. So just for reference, so you can see about 20 billion yen in operating income. So that's about a fourth of their sales comes down to like 25% profit margin on those, versus I think quite a bit less, 9 billion over there. So it's like 13% or so, 15%, 14% or so for HD games. Mm-hmm. So higher margins and way more growth and way more potential in smartphone games, unfortunately. So I don't think we're going to get our next big Final Fantasy game is going to be on PC or console. In fact, I think there was a survey a couple weeks ago that Final Fantasy XIV sent out, but basically kind of like asking questions about would you be interested in playing a new MMO, right, from Final Fantasy or something. And even the next Final Fantasy, there will be another MMO, I think, in Final Fantasy after Final Fantasy XIV, though probably not for a while. But I don't think we're going to get another PC game from them. It doesn't make sense.
I think you're right on your trend, but I just think the fact that these games start many years before they get announced, I think there's probably at least one more in the pipeline. So they wouldn't launch a new one. They wouldn't start development today on a new one. But I think Final Fantasy 16, whatever it is probably already in development, like 2 years ago, even 3 years ago. So
for Final 15 took 10 years to make.
Exactly,
it was a decade-long process.
Sure, but I think they go in parallel sometimes too. So I think there's one already in the pipeline that's going to launch on PS5, probably around launch time for PS5. But that's it after that.
Fair. So I think what I'm trying to say is get used to mobile gaming, boys. It's here to stay. So yeah, PC gaming is still not going to die. Thanks to at least Fortnite is huge for PC. It's not even out on iOS yet or in China, and it still makes over $300 million a year. So big games like Fortnite are definitely keeping PC up there as well. I think Canaris made a comment to FGO versus Metal Gear Solid. I think we mentioned last week that in lifetime sales, Fate Grand Order made as much money as every single Metal Gear game over the last 31 years. And that's 2 years for FGO, which is absolutely nuts.
Indeed.
I got another interesting story, Altai. Here's what you think about this one. The Culling 2 is gone. It shut down.
I heard. It
literally shut down within like 3 days or 4 days of it launching. It was an unmitigated failure and a disaster. And anyone who played it or just looked at the trailer would have realized this was a terrible idea. And from the ashes of the Culling 2 comes a relaunched version of the Culling. And it's pretty interesting because a lot of people basically, the Culling, for those that don't know, is one of the earlier battle royale games, and a really fun one. I think I have over 20 hours on it. My buddy is like over 100 hours on it, but I played a decent amount, and a lot of my friends saying the game was basically ruined by poor balance decisions and really weird design choices. But the base game was great because it's basically a battle royale game, very heavily inspired, basically melee only battle royale with some like bows and some basic last tier firearms that are mega strong but very little bit of ammo. So they actually relaunched it this last week, called the Day 1 build. So they literally brought the game back with the exact same build they had in March 2016 from launch. So none of their balance changes, none of their tweaks, literally Day 1 balance. And they're seeing where it goes from there.
I think that's from around the time we played it. Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember having a
decent... played it launch,
yeah, it was fun. I don't know what they did to make it worse from there.
Yeah, we stopped playing it pretty early, but I mean, the game had like over 5,000 players at one point. It was definitely one of the earlier battle royale games, but I played it with the relaunch, the Day 1 relaunch. I played for 4 hours the other day. That's one game I played this week. I played 4 hours worth of the Culling in one sitting, and I had fun with it. It's one of the few battle royale games that are melee focused, and it requires a lot of skill. Melee combat feels very rewarding when done correctly. Got a really weird rock paper scissors mechanic, which I think is a lot of fun.
So the real question, has the Culling 2 usurped the throne of Radical Heights for the shortest lived battle royale of all time?
I think it lasted less than a week. The Culling 2 lasted less than, I think after like 2 days they decided to shut it down.
That's so beautiful.
So, yeah, it shut down. And Jim Sterling made a great video on the Culling 2, as Canaris pointed out. I strongly recommend watching it just for the memes and the lulz, because it's brutal but also honest. There was no reason for the Culling 2, and it's dead But I enjoyed it, so I felt like bringing it up. Even though it's very small format battle royale. I think 12 players per map or something.
How is Culling 2? I mean, Culling 1 doing now on Steam?
There's no data on the day one reference because it's kind of listed as a different game than the Culling, so you can't find data on it. But it's got way more than the number of people because the Culling shows like 12 players online.
Yeah.
But the Culling 2, the day one version's got way more because there's over 1,000 people watching it on Twitch.
Oh.
And I got matches pretty quickly, so.
So it's a different game.
The number is definitely
it's a different game.
Yeah, it's listed as the Culling day one reference, but you only get it if you buy the original Culling. But the Culling, the newly launched Culling day one version will be free to play at some point. It's just early access for it costs money. But they're going with the free to play model.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm rooting for it. I thought it was pretty fun. I think it still has a big uphill battle ahead of it, but I had fun playing the day one version.
I got a VR story. You don't get these that often anymore.
All right.
And it's a collaboration between Intel, Sensor.
Is it porn related, Altai? Is it porn related?
No, it is not porn related. Intel is not.
I lost interest.
Unfortunately, Intel is not yet in the porn business. Maybe one day.
One day, boys.
But they teamed up with Sansar, which are the guys that are making that new. The guys who made Second Life. They're still working on their VR version called Sansar. But they teamed up with the Smithsonian Museum, and I think this is a great use for VR right now because.
Boring. I'm gonna go to museums in VR.
Yeah,
fuck that.
Because think
I
about
want to see some anime titties in VR.
But gaming. See, here's the funny thing about VR. Why did we assume gaming was gonna be like the first use case? Like computers. It's not like the guys who created computers initially were like, guys, it would be amazing if we could play games on these like machines that like calculate things. No, they made computers for practical, real life reasons, right? And then gaming was like a offshoot. Like, well, I mean, we got the computer anyway. We're bored. We're off work. Let's do this gaming stuff. So why? So I think it was a big false start to focus on gaming with VR. I think all this other stuff like real estate, museums. This kind of rehab and training and stuff will be on VR long before games come out. So games will come out long after those things are already established.
Altai. We need the best use case today for VR is anime titties, and I feel like for the longest time it's going to be. All right, Altai. That's the real reason anybody wants VR. Who else? Everyone's thinking about porn in VR. All right, the gaming will come later.
Well,
all right.
Porn is also another, what they say is a pioneer, in technology. So yeah, porn could also come before gaming. But even porn requires some kind of fluid FPS, right? Like you can't have jaggy ass stuff moving around when you move your head.
I like Nova Ariela's comment. The dick fuels creativity. All right. And I think one of the best-selling Steam VR games right now is still VR Kanojo, which is very clearly an adult game on Steam. Though it is by default censored. There's an uncensored version you can get after you buy the game, and it costs $50, and it's selling well because people want anime titty on VR. We all want anime titty.
I remember this. You showed me this.
Yeah, and
isn't Steam banning adult games again?
No, they're back. They're back to the.
They keep going back and forth on that.
No, they said one game was like delayed until they do like set some kind of like they want to put some parameters in place so you can like develop some. I don't know. They're not banning it though. They want to like categorize it a little better or something.
I see.
But yeah, that's a game. This is a game I'm looking forward to playing. All right, maybe I should play this game before you get back home. Altai. This is this is a game you don't want to play in the company of others.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think Shu told me a pretty funny story that I think one of our relatives is over, an older uncle, and he was playing this VR Kanojo game, and it was very awkward because he was really into it. He was playing it for like hours in her room.
That is a.
And he was obviously groping this very clearly underage girl in VR in Shu's room.
Well, you know what they say: the family that gropes VR girls together stays together.
That's true. There you go.
It's an old saying.
Fair.
Aristotle said that.
I think so. It's an actual quote right there. Yes, I will gladly check that out afterwards. Actually, Chaos looked at that video earlier. It's quite quality, but I don't think we can show that on stream. In fact, go show it all. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any actual nipple in that video, so it's worth. No. There might. There's a nipple.
I'm not playing that. Sorry.
There's a nipple, boys. There's a nipple. We got maybe that's a post game one. All right. It is literally one nipple. I think we can't show it though. Feels bad, man. But anyone in the chat, I still recommend checking out that video. It's pretty hilarious. It's quite quality.
Anyone out there who's watching, do you guys have VR? You guys using it? What are your opinions on it? The VR chat is still an interesting area for me. I watch this one guy on YouTube called Seymour. He does these really, really like emotional VR chat stories that I highly recommend.
I can safely say I have fapped to VR porn on several occasions.
I have never done. I haven't done it. I watched one.
It's an experience.
I watched one, but the girl wasn't. I wasn't into the girl, so I was too lazy to download a new one.
It's all good. Anything else you got? There's a big update coming from Fantasy XIV. Kind of updated. Kind of hyped for that a little bit, but it's a big update. So
Tell me what's coming. Tell me what's coming.
All right, it's a biggie.
A biggie.
It's a biggie. It's adding a whole new raid tier to the game. So
wow,
four new raids, 4 new dungeons basically. Well, not again. You don't want to call it dungeons because they're just boss fights.
Yeah.
Which will probably be, keep most players occupied for like a couple months. Hardcore players will be done with it, in probably a month or two because you need to run it every week to get your gear. You get one drop per. You only run it once per week each one. So that'll be really fun. It's coming out in September. Along with that, they're adding some small balance changes across the board. They're adding a new Eureka zone, which is like the separate leveling zone to the game. It's the third installment. The second installment is coming, I think, later this month, actually. So the second one is coming later this month, and in September the third one's coming.
Are you maxed?
I'm not. It's actually unbelievably boring. I don't know who designed this Eureka system. It's actually the most like not fun thing to do in the world. Maybe I can rant about this for a little bit, but so in Final Fantasy XIV, there's this Eureka area in the game inspired by Final Fantasy XI. So basically, when you go there, you start level 1. It's like a separate leveling zone. So levels are independent of your actual character level. And you can kill monsters there and level up. And every once in a while, there's like a boss spawns. And if you kill the boss, you get like tons of XP. But it's so unbelievably boring because you can A, just literally grind, or B, just literally follow a giant train of people killing bosses for like hours and hours at a time. There's no skill required. The only thing I do when I'm like level 17 or 16 on there, so I'm pretty close to like 20 is the max level right now. So you just /follow a group of people, and when a boss spawns, you go back and you tag the boss a couple times and you get full credit for it. So I'm just literally running out one monitor and not paying attention at all. And every like 5 minutes, I'll take a look at it to make sure did the boss spawn? Oh, the boss spawned. Let me go tag it a couple times, and then I get credit for it.
So they don't scale the reward based on damage. As long as you tag it, you get it.
They do a little bit. There's like bronze, silver, and gold here, but you just join a party, and then as long as somebody else hits it a couple times, you get it. It's very easy to get gold.
Okay.
It's you know what? You don't even solo. You don't do a lot to get gold. You can get gold very easily. But the thing is, you have to kill a lot of monsters to spawn the bosses, right? And since there's like 100 plus players in there, you can just go AFK and wait.
Somebody else does it.
And somebody else always does it.
The free rider problem.
The free rider problem, boys. Time for some good old-fashioned bitching. But what's remarkable is I feel like they could have done a way better job. It was really just feel like they just slapped it together. They didn't really think too much about it, and it's really boring. Like I don't think anyone did the Eureka content and like, hey, I had a lot of fun doing this. There's not one person who can say that because it's actually just poorly designed. And it was literally like the best way to describe Eureka in Final Fantasy XIV is it was literally just quote unquote content. It was content for the sake of content with no like effort or soul to it. Unbelievably poorly executed, and they're adding the second and third parts, which hopefully are a little bit better. But and they had this weird system where like every like 6 levels or something, you can get like you can put a crystal in this like weird slot thingy. There's like 5 different elements, right? And there's like fire, water, ice, earth, wind, or some shit. And if you put like a point to fire, you'll do more damage to fire enemies or something, and take less damage from like water enemies, from fire enemies or something. So some bullshit like that. But you can just change it at will. There's this wheel, this really bizarre system. I'm describing it very poorly, but it was such an afterthought of a system, where it was supposed to like you're supposed to like adjust your wheel to defeat enemies of certain like fire enemies or water enemies, but it was little nonsense because you could just adjust it at will, where it just did nothing basically. I don't know. I'm describing it really poorly. Words aren't coming out right now, but it was just an awful system.
So wasn't this Eureka mode the thing where some guy was trolling and getting people killed or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Explain that again. I remember that being a good story.
That was actually the funniest part of this content, and actually people end up getting banned for it. So let me see if we can find a clip for it. So basically, some of the boss fights are a bit of a clusterfuck, and there's over 100 players in one area trying to kill a boss. And what you can do sometimes is you can pull an enemy from further away into the group where people are fighting, and some enemies do massive AoE attacks, right? So you pull an enemy that does a massive AoE attack, and you pull it towards the boss. And a lot of players are under-leveled, right? Because you still get credit. Even if the boss like level 15, you're level 2, you still get some experience for it. So half the players there are usually under-leveled and will get one-shot by anything in that area. So you pull an enemy that does AoE into the boss, and it just AoE one-shots everybody.
So why do you get banned for that?
People got banned. People get banned for that now.
What?
Yeah, I think it's kind of silly. You're literally just like you're using in-game mechanics to kind of troll people, but it's an intended mechanic. If they don't like it, don't put AoEs into the game. You know.
Yeah.
So it's a bit bizarre they banned for that, but I don't know. This whole it's literally just filler content. It is all it is. It's filler content that has no rewarding feeling to it. It's literally soulless filler content. Pretty terrible.
So what's that like? What's the distance in Final Fantasy you can run before the mob resets? Because I can.
In this area, it's a lot further than normal for some reason.
Oh,
so that's why you could pull higher level.
So they chose to add that.
Yes.
And then they punish you for using it.
Yes, I agree. It's awful.
Just don't add it. Like I don't understand. Like what is this mindset? What here? So here's the thing about okay. Think how you feel about this and apply it to how I feel. I feel identically the way you feel about this to leaving games or saying bad words in games. Okay, where I'm not saying the guy should do that, but why give him the tools in game to do it if you're going to ban him for it? That's what I'm trying to say.
But again, with this mechanic, I agree with you because the little design of the game allows these monsters to chase players and do AoE attacks. They could have easily gotten rid of the AoE attacks, right? It would have fixed everything.
Yeah.
But they literally just put it into the game.
Or make the reset time the same as everywhere else. Like, if that's going to be a problem for them.
I'm trying to see if we can find the clip for them because I thought the clip was actually pretty hilarious. Of people getting wrecked over there, but I can't find it right now. Where this guy just pulls an enemy and does AoE and kills like 40 people. I agree that they shouldn't ban for this, but I can still understand the banning for like literally breaking game mechanics. Those competitive games aren't designed around people leaving. Like for example, I don't think it should be bannable to just literally leave a party in Final Fantasy 14. Like you're in a raid, right?
And
you just decide to leave.
That's bannable?
No, it's not. But that's fine because leaving in itself isn't a problem.
Yeah.
It's only a problem in a structured game like League of Legends or Dota or Overwatch where the game is there's no alternative like fixing that problem when somebody leaves, where it just becomes an instant loss for the team that has the lever. They could have also easily made it so the AoEs only affect the party as well. That works as well. There's so many solutions for it. But I don't think you should ban, for griefing like that.
Okay, this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to get at. The internet should be for fun, not serious boy talk. So I said after my spiel about people being banned, Baldwin says, difference is even if there's not an exit button, people can still easily exit the game. Alt F4, right?
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's true for exit, but what about stealing items in Dota 2 from the courier, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, for that. He's on my side with that. I go, why? Because I used to do that for fun because I thought it was funny. LeMayo. See, that's what I'm saying. Stuff like this is fun. All right.
Look. I think the beauty of MMORPGs is that the community can kind of self-regulate to a degree. If someone is kind of known to be an asshole or literally garbage player or a toxic player, the word gets out, right? And people can just kick the guy from the party, right, for being an asshole. And people can self-regulate like that too. Nobody wants somebody in that party which is like just trolling, griefing, being an asshole. Nobody wants that. And with an MMORPG, there is a reputation to be known. Like people like sometimes realize, oh shit, this guy does a lot of damage. This is a well-known black mage. They do pretty good damage. Like and there are people that are just known for being awful players. Like when I see like some awful players that I know by name, not even by looking them up, just by playing with them, I will automatically kick them from my party because I know they're bad.
Yeah.
And I'll join parties and be like, oh shit, it's Remo. He does pretty good damage. He's like a really good black mage. Like some people will know that. My friend gets recognized for being a good white mage, for example, too. Like people, there's an earned reputation in game. I think that creates a lot of good self-regulation. Where I don't think you need to kind of do bans by Square Enix to deal with these problems. I mean, people will just, exclude players on their own.
Actually, in a way, I think that I don't know if Final Fantasy has this, but a lot of games today do the name change, right? I think that's more toxic than other stuff.
I agree. I hate the name change. You should tell you all the previous names of somebody.
Exactly, because if somebody has a bad reputation, like you were saying, they got to live with that or work very hard to mend it, right? But if they can just pay to change their name, well then F everyone else, So I'm not against punishing people who need to be punished, but again, the punishment should be in the game and in an MMORPG environment. It's so
that
easy.
Works in MMORPGs really well.
Yes.
Everything works. In a game like Final Fantasy XIV, I am okay with everything. Any form of in-game like griefing and trolling and bullshit, because the game can self-regulate, and it does. It really does. People don't give enough credit, but like people get known for being assholes, and they get excluded.
There's a guild blacklist for people who don't like. At least there was in WoW, like people who just ninja loot or just BS.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good example too. He goes on hunts in Fantasy XIV, and there are link shells, which are basically like party chats in the game you get invited to, right? And they share locations of where these S ranks spawn. They're higher tier monsters that you get big rewards for killing, right? And if you're ever an asshole, they literally just blacklist you and kick you out from there. And if you're not in that link shell, you won't know when the S rank spawns. You won't know where in the world it is, and you won't be able to get there in time to kill it if you're not in these groups. So it really does a good job of self-policing. I think the name change thing is unbelievably stupid, though, that you can name change, and you should be able to look at somebody's name and see all previous aliases with that name.
Yeah, that's
and that would fix the whole problem.
That's a good fix. You're right. Yeah.
Easy solution. Because the weirdest thing, the stupidest thing that happens right now is I log in. There's a guy on my friends list, and I see this guy in town. And his name is in orange, and orange means he's in your friends list. Like, who the fuck is this person? Like they name change, they race change, they gender change. What the fuck? I don't know who I'm dealing with anymore. Like I literally, and they say hi to you, and like, who the fuck is this guy? It's weird.
Just say that to them. Who the fuck are you? Stop changing your goddamn name and race.
There's one person I know, like they don't name change. They literally just race change like every week. I think it was we talked about that one person being like role playing as a shapeshifter and just literally changing race every day. That was a funny story.
That's a story worth telling again. Okay. So for all of the people out there who think there's a limit or a ceiling to how much you can charge for microtransactions, how much you can milk one whale, there's no limit. And this was a story on Reddit where this guy who worked for I believe it was Star Trek Online. He worked for Cryptic, right? It's Cryptic.
Mm-hmm.
And he says there was a guy who would spend literally thousands a day while he was role playing as a shapeshifter. So he would literally sit there and in the middle of like a text line, pay for a race change, and then 5 seconds later change for do it again. Like this guy is insane.
That's nuts.
What do you do with this guy?
You let him keep blowing his money or whatever.
My
he enjoys
goodness.
His money. Like, God bless. Let him waste his money.
I don't know what to do with that guy.
Guy's crazy.
He needs help. I don't think you should just let him keep spending. I think he's insane.
Hey, to each their own, all right? To each their own.
I don't know, man. I feel bad. I'm not trying to stop him from like a police position, just a mental health position.
Yeah, true. You're also adding you must be a very lonely man. It is really bizarre. But hey, if it brings him his jollies, all right, good for him. All right, he's not hurting anyone.
No, he's not hurting. He's hurting himself. I'm just worried about him. But if he says, you know what, I'm fine, then whatever.
Yeah. I think we would all be surprised to see just how much people spend on microtransactions. There's always that one person who spends like a fortune on these games, and it's the way it is. They're built on that. Anything else out there? Anything else spicy this week?
I got a funny story. So a book came out recently about Ultima Online actually. I do plan to read it. It's called Braving Britannia, and it's an excerpt from the book. And I'll just briefly describe the story that he explained. So this is the head producer of UO during about from like 2000 to whatever, a couple of years after. And do you remember when they were before Renaissance expansion came out, which was the first expansion that came out once we started playing? Mm-hmm. They had an event where the town of Trinsic was going to be invaded by.
I read the story. It's actually pretty great. So keep explaining. Yeah.
Okay, so remember, Ultima Online was a live service, and they had servers all over the world, in the U.S., in Europe, and Japan. So they planned an event where the undead would invade the city of Trinsic, and basically players could, if they chose to, hold out for as long as they could. But the plan was they're going to die eventually, because they would just keep sending waves and waves of undead until everyone died. So they ran the event first in the US, and what happened is, predictably, people fought the monsters for as long as they could. The pro players lasted the longest, and then they all died. Okay. And then the Japanese, the time zone was time for Japan. And in Japan, what happened was all the players actually worked together. So they formed shield walls with healers behind, and everyone worked together, and they actually defeated every single wave. But there was no planning for if the players resisted, right? So if they still got the notice that like, oh, you're all dead, but now we're gonna save you, and they got mad in Japan. And what happened in Europe was also interesting. In Europe, it was mostly role-playing players, right? So they didn't even bother fighting. They didn't defend the city. They just let the city fall. And then the producer was talking about the cultural differences between the three cultures, I guess, right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I read the article too, and what's pretty interesting, it says that like a lot of the American players are very like individualistic. They had like very small groups of players holding out in different parts of the town, right? And nobody worked together. You had small groups working together, but there was no grand collaboration. But the Japanese players really stunned the developers because it was this amazing effort of like hundreds of players working as like one unit. where you had you had crafters in the back lines just basically churning out infinite resources of potions to keep players running. It was an unbelievably well-oiled machine of coordination, and they just held off entirely. Like they didn't know what to do at that point. Like holy shit, like these guys, they just won't die. You know, they keep spawning more enemies and they keep killing them because all the players keep working together. And there was no way like, and they couldn't. I guess they couldn't create custom enemies with like, infinite damage. But, like any enemy you spawn in there, they would just kill. So the Japanese players are way more coordinated than the Americans, who were individualistic and just fought on their own until they died. And the EU cucks didn't even fight. It feels bad.
Here's a story if you guys want to read it. But after reading this, I want to buy the book. The book sounds like fun, especially because Omar and I, we actually played during this era. We started a few months before Renaissance came out, and then we played for many years after. So this is exactly the era that we got into MMOs.
Good shit. Funny story. Yeah, I kind of buy because I read the article on VentureBeat too, and I kind of want to buy the book after that. I'm always nostalgic about Ultima Online, and I still it's still my favorite MMORPG of all time. Just the stories and events of that game, I think were left a pretty lasting impact on my life. It's like it's probably my most memorable video game of all time. I've literally spent years of my life on that game, and just the world of Ultima Online still like I could still draw a map of the world of Ultima Online pretty accurately.
The beauty of the game, which I don't think can be replicated now, is the fact that everybody who was playing was doing it for the first time together, right? Like there was no like power gamer who's got like 2 monitors like we do today with like a database site, you know, optimal strats, optimal build, level 5. What gear should you have? Level 10, like what gear should you have? Like what should you be doing? Like, that didn't exist back then. So it was a lot more fun exploring and learning with everyone else for the first time.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, the built-in map was very basic. It only showed you your surrounding area, whereas nowadays you get like world maps built into games. Like Ultima didn't have a world map either. There's so much of the game you just kind of have to discover on your own. That's pretty badass. Well,
unfortunately, now if you play a private server, one of the first resource links they give you is UO Automap, which, like I said, on your second monitor, you can literally just put the whole world map with you know, all the locations marked. So it does say that it's gonna be impossible to ever relive that because of the fact that information is so instantly transmitted now. Did Ultima give Japanese any reward? No. The developers at the time, they had no plan in place for if the players resisted.
The story was that the Trinsic will fall, and then everyone will escape to this portal to like the safer world called Trammel in the game, and that happened regardless whether they defended or not, because it was expected they were not going to defend. So it obviously left the Japanese players kind of pissed off, but it's just the way it was designed.
Indeed.
You know, EverQuest didn't have a map either, and that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
I still remember getting lost in EverQuest. You know, finding like if you can get lost in a dungeon, there's no maps. You'd like sometimes you had to ask like, how do I get to like Highkeep from like South Quenos? Like the guy's like typing out instructions for you because like there's no map in the game, and map didn't come out for that. Like I don't think a plugin came out for that game to add a map for a long time. So it was actually just like landmarks, and you could actually get lost. And the feeling of actually being lost in an MMORPG, like quite literally lost, is a feeling you're not going to get in any other MMORPG because every game has a map now, so you can't be lost anymore.
I think that's a big part of being a kid. Being lost.
Sense of exploration and wonder.
And lost. You got to be lost for at least a little bit. You know, like don't.
What we try to say is, in order for us to be found, we must first be lost.
That's deep.
Right # deep.
There you go. You got a different connection to like an environment where you're exploring it on your own. You're lost and you find your way. Yeah. The foreboding. You need those negative feelings. You know, like the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be lost anymore. You know what? Even in real life, you can't be lost. Everyone has a cell phone now with GPS. That's it. The whole world is literally, you know, a screen to you now.
Mm-hmm. Can't be lost, boys. And not only can you not be lost, monsters literally can't kill you. Remember Star Wars Republic, where you just aggroed a couple like 5 enemies in a dungeon and went AFK and they just can't kill you. Like your HP tick was higher than what monsters can do damage. And I feel like in Final Fantasy XIV it's like that as well. If you aggro enemies, it doesn't matter. You just can't die. If you're doing the main story quest and you're doing these supposed like, you know, cinematic fights where you find these well-known enemies in the main story quest, like they just can't kill you. Like you just stand there and they can just whack at you and you just don't die. You know, it just loses any sense of immersion. Yeah. Whereas like, you know, even in World of Warcraft, you know, vanilla WoW, when you start in Goldshire, you know, you pull like 2 of those wolves, you're just dead. You know, you can't kill 2 wolves at once, bro. You can only kill 1 at a time. Good times, boys. Good times.
There's something we said about the value of kind of like watching a movie in theaters opening day versus like a DVD like 10 years later. And that's kind of true with MMORPGs as well. And you got to be there launch day and learn with everyone. It's a much different experience than playing it 10 years later when they nerfed the shit out of all the monsters and everything is easy mode.
I mean, that even applies to today too. When a new raid comes out in World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV, you know, the playing day one without watching a video on what to do and when to do it is way more exciting and way more fun than just to watch some person explain it to you. Okay, guys, when the boss does this attack, you got to stand on this side of the map, count to 3, and then take 1 step back. No, that's bullshit. You know, if you do it for it's just way more fun learning it on day one and just figuring it out on your own. And of course, you just didn't have that option back in the day, but you know the option is available today. But usually those guys don't come out until like a week after, so you can still get the experience today if you're looking for it.
All right, well, that's all I got. What about you?
I think that's all I had too. Let me just think it's it, boys.
All right, well, that's it for this week. Thank you. Oh, didn't we say we're gonna stream on YouTube? We'll do that. We'll do that when I'm back in Vegas.
We'll figure something out with that.
We'll
try to do both.
Yeah, we'll try to do both. All right. Well, sorry YouTube, no post game for you once again. Maybe next time.
But we'll do a post game on Twitch though, and I want to play you in Smash Brothers in the post game. That could be fun.
All right, I gotta. Okay, let me just stop